Hey guys, it's Sankar and today I'm going to show you how to make a really cool COMPLEXTRO glitch hop drop like this. So we're going to keep it simple with today's tutorial. It's going to be very easy to follow. So without talking much longer, let's hop into our dock and get started with this video. So I already have a project loaded up here, a little demo, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down, sort of explain the elements that I have here on this drop, how everything is laid out, how everything works. And so basically this is what our current track sounds like and what we're going to be working with today. So basically what I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to show you how to lay out this sort of track. I have tutorials for the chord stacks. I have tutorials for the growl basses. I have bass tutorials. So if you want to learn in depth and in detail how to make those, subscribe to the channel and watch those videos. But let's get started here. I have starting off these drums by Oliver that I got from Splice, which are slightly processed. So for example, I have here a shaper box to give it sort of a more sharper attack. I have a small amount of OTT for some compression, some sound, some of the tone that I like. I got a transpire to sharpen up more the sound of the drums. I have some reverb to fill up a bit of the space, and then I have some saturation to clip it and sort of tighten everything and glue them together. So that's basically the drums. Of course, I'm using a loop for this example because I wanted to keep it as beginner friendly as possible. So if you want to use this loop, you can check out Splice. They have some really awesome loops of all of these kinds. Or you can make it yourself using some samples from Splice. This video is not sponsored by Splice. I wish it was sponsored by Splice, but I am a frequent user. So if you want to check that out, feel free to do so. Next, I have here, which is one of the most important elements, I have here the chord progression, which is actually different laid out here in the piano roll. So this is our chord progression. And this chord progression is very similar to the upload that I most recently did, which was my Pigments chord stack tutorial. So if you want to learn how to make these types of chord stacks, check out that video. I have two different videos. I have one in Pigments. I have one using Serum. So if you want to learn how to make some really cool chord stacks, check that video out. Anyways, very simple. We have like some super sauce here using Serum. So if I solo this, I'm going to solo each individually so that you guys have an idea on what each individual sounds like. So, of course, each element is doing its own little bit. It's explained in detail on the video mentioned, but that's basically our chord stack. And what I did is I chopped up the pattern to create this nice little pattern groove here. And then on this little part is where the fun happens because I added here a nice little ARP, which sort of adds variety. It adds a little bit of flavor to the drop, so it's not the same thing happening all over. Or with the drums, sounds something like this. And then here, what I did is I chopped up the end of the chord here to create that nice little sort of flutter hover effect, which sounds really cool. Sounds very Virtual Riot, sort of like candy-like future-based sort of pattern. Then what I added is I added this little ARP. But before talking about the ARP, I want to show you guys post-processing here. So of course, I have each individual element routed here into each track. And then on the bass here, I believe, I have here some OTT, some EQing, very simple stuff. This one is EQing the high end, so this is the ARP actually, not the sub bass. Yes. So then it's all routed into a stack, which has some heavy amount of OTTs. I have some EQ, sort of like raising the high end because I wanted it to be a bit more bright, removing some of this mid-high area so that it's not as sharp to the ear, still remaining very bright. I added some saturation just to sort of glue the sound together, and then some reverb and delay just to give it some room into the mix. So it's a bit more roomy, gives it a little bit more space. Now we can talk about this secondary ARP that we have here. Again, some OTT, some EQing, and this is a very simple patch. It's basically just a low pass saw, very simple stuff. Very easy, and it's basically just adding another moving element in the drop just to fill up the space, those empty little spaces that might have otherwise sort of like, it's just basically a mixing element here, just filling up those sounds so it sounds more full. And now the most exciting part is the basses. So what I did is I took a bunch of bass samples that I've done previous sessions. So I have a bunch of these that I just go and, for example, throw in very weird plugins, like some glitch plugins and stuff like that. And so basically you just create sounds like this. Basically just taking those samples, throwing them in, adding some processing, which are here in the basses. So I have some shaper box here just to create a nice little tail, like just to sharpen the samples a little bit. I have some phaser just to change the tone a little bit so it doesn't sound repetitive, that I'm using the same samples that I might have used in other tracks. Added some OTT again just to shape the tone a little bit, as well with the EQ, the saturation again with Saturn. I really love using Saturn as saturation. And adding just a really small amount of reverb just to give it a bit more room in the mixing here. And then all together we get the results of what I just showed you. Really awesome stuff, really simple, really awesome once you know the basics. If you want to go more in depth with this, you can also follow other tutorials. Like if you can follow and change up some bass tutorials to create some really unique basses. You can change up your chord stack to make different elements, different tones, different stuff. You can add some low pass filtering, LFO automations just to create, instead of this pattern here, instead of having it be a volume, like a very fast, choppy volume cut, it can be an LFO, like feature-based songs that they use a lot of LFO movement. You can really start shaping once you know the basics on how to do this sort of COMPLEXTRO glitch hop sort of drop. So anyways, this was like a very beginner-friendly tutorial into the basics. If you want to go more in depth, you want to go and learn more details on how to make these kinds of drops, comment down below what you want to see and what you want to learn. You want to learn how to make some drum loops. You want to learn how to make some basses. You want more chord stack tutorials. Comment down below. And while you're at it, like and subscribe so that you guys can see when I upload those videos. I'm going to be making more content. Summer is going to be very awesome for content. Anyways, this was Soundkidder. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time.